Welcome back, Dynamic Gang. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. So today, we're going to be talking about the deck profile that I ran, that I got to Platinum 3, and then I went back to Gold because I just don't want to... My deck is already at 41, so I'm not trying to put any more cards in there. But anyway, I'll explain as I go, and then we'll go into some combos. I'm going to use some proxies on my real cards, because I got mostly all the cards, but the cards that that basically that are banned, and again, I don't have a lot of the cards I used to have, so I'm going to use some proxies and I'll show you a few combos. But anyway, let's get into this. So we're going to start with, I know people who run 3. I run 2. I run 2 Max C. For the draw power, a lot of times people just stop after they see it. They don't want to take the challenge. Can't blame them, right? Then, of course, we got the Miss Valley Apex Avion. It used to be when the card used to be activated, but they changed the ruling, so now it's once per chain. Before, the effect was that you could keep, it was like pretty much another what was it, the Appaloosa, or basically he was able to do what she could do, but they changed the ruling. So this is the Miss Valley Thunderbird. Again, we'll show you more of the combo, but you kind of need this one and her to do the infinite loop. And in the scrap deck, it is very easy to do it with the Union Carrier. We're going to get into that. Scrap Golem. Again, you don't have to explain. He's basically one of your main combo extenders, as you would say. So we run 3 of him. So we have the Scrap Chimera. It's very essential for this. If it gets Valor or something like that, it's kind of hard to bounce back. This is where this deck loses to. It loses to hand traps. It's very, unless you have the cross-out designator, which I do have in here. But to make a long story short, it does. This is a very like, you just need to know the techniques and stuff around the scraps in order to go around it. But Scrap Chimera, as long as you got another scrap or something on the field, you can make the scrap wavering, and there's ways to get around that. But we'll get into the combos. So we run 3 of him. We got 3 Scrap Raptors. All right. This is all dual master. All right. The reason I'm doing it on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nexus is because I wanted to show you what cards are banned and what cards aren't banned. And this is basically this is basically what I wanted to show you. I don't know why I had the light on. I'm sorry. So we run 3 Scrap Raptors. We run 1 Scrap Goblin. We don't need to have more than 1 because he's the one to get your synchro play for your Borland Savage Dragon. All right. So we run 1 Scrap Searcher. Now, if you guys know what the scrap deck is, then you would understand that you have to play around this card because he destroys everything that is not scrapped when it is special summoned. So I already had a really good board and I misplayed by accident and I summoned him and it blew up my own damn board. It's basically Black Rose for anything that's not Scrap Rose. Scrap monsters. So we run 1 of him. We run 2 Scrap Orthros. He is essential. You need him in there. If you're not going to run 2, at least run 1. You do need him in there. He's a target for your scrapyard, and he's a target for Scrap Storm, and he's a target for himself, and he activates Scrap Factory. He is an essential part of. I'm telling you, don't sleep. Don't sleep on him. And oh yeah, this is of course you already know what she does. Hand trap. We run 1. And I'm gonna tell you why I run 1. All right, so we run 3 Scrapyard. That definitely searches your cards. 1 Monster Reborn, staple. Scrap Storm, what it does is destroys. You can go plus off of it. You draw a card, and your Scrap Factory activates. If you had your supply, I should have put that as honorable, but supply. I think it was a supply unit. Once per turn, if one of your cards or your monsters get destroyed, you could draw a card. It's a continuous spell, but I don't have it in here. We run 3 of these. So we run 2 of the Twin Twisters. And the reason why is because that damn zombie deck is a thing. A lot of, it runs a lot of trap heavy. What kills this deck isn't, I think it's, what is that? Rivalry of a Warlord, where it's different attributes. You can get away with being the same type because it's all Earth, except for the Infinite Loop. But other than that, everything else is basically, I think the Abomination Unchained, the Unchained Abomination. I think that's the only other one that's not. Anyway, it loses. It loses to that damn card, so that's why we put that in there, because a lot of times Scrap Dragon's not always available. So even though this is a deck that does a lot of popping and stuff, this card has to be in there. At least if you run 1, run 1. I like to run 2 because you can always discard, just in case I end up with the Scrap Searcher in my hand, and he needs, or it needs to be in the, like, in order for him to special summon himself without wasting a normal summons. Basically, I mean, I know you get 2 normal summons because of the Scrap Raptor, but you already have to waste 1 when you normal summon Scrap Raptor, unless you special summon him through Monster Reborn or whatever the case may be. But anyway, I guess you could use double summoning too. I used to use that card a lot, again, when Scrap Raptor wasn't available. But to make a long story short, you can at least run 1. I run 2. So, Foolish Burial, I don't have to go into details. I run 1. I run 3 of the Fossil Dig. And the reason I run Fossil Dig is because of the Scrap Raptor. I run 3 of those. And, I mean, enough said on that. I used to run 3 of the Scrap Factory. And now I only run 2. So, it's... Remember, this deck goes off first or second turn. So, I never had a problem where both of my Scrap Factories were in the graveyard. I actually thought it was more clunky having a third one. Again, this is a Dual Master, deck profile. When I have it in my regular deck, I do run 3 because I don't have the resources. Because most of these other cards I'm going to show you are banned. Like the Maxie's banned, and some of the extra deck monsters are banned. So we run 1 of the World Legacy Succession. The reason why you run 1 is it's a Monster Reborn, but you need a link on the field. Then you have Instant Fusion. Again, that's a free summons. And you need at least to have 1 more monster other than Scrap to go on the field in order to get your Scrap Wyvern. That's the only reason he's in there. So, again, that's just a tech card. Again, you have to learn how to do techs, especially when you play Scrap. Like the Scrap decks, because like it does have resources, and it has good resources, but it's not like an overpowering deck. That's why it's still a rogue deck, But a lot of people splash them into other stuff, like they do pendulums, and I've seen them splashed into brigades. I've seen them splashing into... I mean, you could splash Scraps into anything right now. Especially Scrap Raptor, he goes into dinos. Forbidden Droplet, this card saved me so many times. This can actually chain off of the other cards that you're already activating on the field. So it's plussing. And trust me, it works when you're in a bind. I've had to save my bacon. It's really a good tech card. I run 1. I run 1 infinite impermanence, and I'm going to tell you why I run 1. But enough said about that. Then we have Solomon Strike. Again, everybody should know what that does. Now, I run 2. Okay, I run 2 of these. And the reason I run 2 of these is because if I'm going first and they try to Ash Blossom, if they try to, if they try to Impermanence or do another Maxi on me, I could go into my deck and I can stop that. That is what this card is made for, and it has helped me out in the past. So it's pretty good. The other thing is I don't have Effect Valor in my deck, and the reason I don't is because I don't have enough room, and I've never had a problem with Effect Valor. It's only the Impermanence, actually. Impermanence is actually worse than, in my eyes, than Effect Valor. Effect Valor, you know, doesn't work, or does it work in the graveyard? I don't think it does. I think that's Ash. Okay, one of those. And for the last one, we have the Terraforming, because you want to get to your scrap factory as quick as possible. I know your Scrap Raptor can search, but it's always good to have a lot more search engines in your deck in order to get to the cards you need. So that's pretty much my main deck, okay? You really don't need this card, but like I said, this is the deck that got me to the 3rd of Platinum, and then I kind of went back to Gold because at that point, I stopped using this deck, and I started messing around with my Madolches. They don't have Small World, and, you know, so it was kind of like everybody in Platinum was playing, like I said, about the 3 major decks, and I probably lost like maybe 5 times in a row, so it brought me back to Gold. So I was like, all right, whatever. So now we're going to do the extra deck. I run 3 Scrap Twin Dragons, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he lets you go to... I'll explain when I get there. But anyway, he's something that can get to your XYZ, and he's banned in the real, outside of Duel Monsters, like our Duel Masters. He's banned, the card that I'm going to get to. All right, so I run 3 of him. I run 1 of the Savage Dragon. And the reason why I only run 1 is I never had a purpose outside of protecting. If I could go 3 or 4 rounds with this deck, that's long for me. This deck is 1 to 2 turns, and you're basically going to win. That's how this deck works. 1 to 2 turns. All right. If you're going first, you're going to set up for that infinite loop. If they have answers for it, that's why you have the cross-out designator. But that is what this deck does. It wins within, I want to say, 1 to 2 turns. So, again, I couldn't do this without Union Carrier or a lot of the forbidden cards. Well, actually, Max C is okay. But most of the times, you're not. I don't really have to use Max C that often. I'll just drop it, and then they'll look at it and they'll be like, all right, they'll pass their turn. We run 1 Scrap Dragon. We run 3 Scrap Ravens. I mean, he's just a fantastic card. I'll just go into a couple combos with him later. We run 1 of the IP Masquerina, and I'm going to show you a combo with her. Now, this is one of the cards that's banned. This is actually banned, but in Duel Masters, it's not. And this is the one that I use for the Scrap Twin Dragon. And this card is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Union Carrier, again, he sets up for your infinite loop. That's the only time you really use him. An Unchained Abomination. The IP Masquerina protects him from people trying. The only way you can really kill him is if you do it by battle. You have to run him over. Other than that, his effects pop off. I run 1 because of the instant fusion, and he just becomes a target. You know, just so I could get my scrap wavering on the field. I run 1 of her, and the reason I run 1 of her is because of the infinite loop. That's about it. And then this one is just for good measures. I mean, I already have enough negations, but it never hurts to have more. So she doesn't really come up that often, but it's nice to have her in there, and everybody should knows what she does. So I got some honorable mentions. Again, they don't have side decks in this one, but I was playing around these cards, and these cards are pretty good in this deck. Upstart Goblin's good in any deck. You know, I don't have to specify exactly. Chain Summoning. This is a better version of double summoning, and it's very easy to do this first turn. Absolutely. Called by the Grave. That's another hand trap. I would use that for the Crossout Designator. Again, this is all stuff that... I mean, you know, we don't have any side decks, so there's not much we can do with that. Overdone Burial. This is another honorable mention. It's a great tech card. To be putting in this one to try to go through Platinum, I feel like it's a little too slow, so I don't really use it that often. So I just use it as an honorable mention to you guys. And Ash Blossom, I was messing around with this one, but again, this card was actually Gravity Collapse. This is a really good card, and since I have Synchros and it's a last resort, I used to play this card until I got the Platinum, and I figured that this card was actually better out to put. It was actually, at this point, it was better to put Crossout Designator in first before Gravity Collapse. But Gravity Collapse helped me get to Platinum. Don't get that wrong. So if you don't know what this card does, it's basically when your opponent would summon a monster, send one face-up Synchro monster you control to the graveyard, negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster, and your opponent cannot summon a monster until the end of his turn. So that means unless he has monster that's in the graveyard that could summon him at the end of the turn or any kind of effects, that's when that effect will go off. But anything else, he's done. He can't summon for the rest of the turn. This card is OP, and it's a counter trap. So it's a spell 3 or speed 5 or whatever the hell they have now. I can't keep up. All right. Again, Effect Veiler. Everybody should know what that is. And this was a fun card. This is not a card that I would put in to try to go to Platinum. Not at all. This card is fun, though. And like I said, it's easy for you to get to Chain Link 4. Very easy. Very, very easy for you to get draw 4. Draw 2 cards. But the only reason why I don't have this in my deck is because it's a trap. It's slow. And it takes up another spot for, as you can see, I only run like maybe 2 or 3 traps in my main deck. Or was it two traps? Okay. So I'm not really trap heavy. So basically I said this is a first to second turn. After that it gets kind of like dangerous because I'll run out of resources and then this deck becomes dead. And you know, this is like one of those like really quick punch him in the face and hopefully it lands and sticks. You know, this deck, but again, I like scraps. So I will always experiment with scraps. I will try to make a scrap deck that can go competitive and go beyond. Now, do I know it's not top tier? Of course I do. It's a rogue deck. I'm not, you know, stupid or anything like that. So, and that's it for right now. So I'm going to show you a few combos. And then from there, again, I'm going to have some proxies of cards just right on it. And we'll go from there, okay? All right. All right, in this video, I'm going to show you a few combos. Let's say that you open up with a really bad hand, and let's say that the only thing that you have in your hand is your Scrap Raptor. All the rest are traps, spells, and hand traps. Let's just say that, all right? Now, he's really good on his own. Going first, it might be a little too scary, on some occasions, but if you got your hand traps, you have a little bit more lenience to do things. But anyway, I'm going to show you Scrap Raptor, activates the effect, destroys himself. Now, you can get Scrap Factory, or you could get a Scrap Chimera to your hand, or any other scrap, but I don't know why you would want to get anything else. So, remember, we're pretending that everything's going off. There's no, they don't have any answers to everything that we're doing, all right? So we're going to do Scrap Chimera. He's going to summon. Then you're going to link. You're going to get your Scrap Wyvern. Before you activate his effect, make sure you put a spell or trap or something else on the field so he has something to target. Put Scrap Raptor on the field, or doesn't really matter. Destroy it with his effect. Scrap Raptor is going to search your Scrap Golem. That's your idea of play. I mean, you can get any, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to get Scrap Golem. But anyway, then he's going to destroy a card on the field, and then since your opponent, you're going first, your opponent doesn't obviously have cards on the field, so he has to target something, so let him destroy that. Now his effect is going to kick into play. You're going to, doesn't really matter. Now you're going to bring Masquerena to play, and we're going to link for the big boy, Unchained Abomination. And let's say that the only thing you have in your hands are like hand traps, and maybe you have like a spell or two to put in the back, or a trap to put in the back. So that's pretty much like on a worst case scenario. Still, you did a lot because he can't be destroyed by your opponent's effects. He can only be runned over. I mean, it doesn't look so good when you're going in platinum mode, because remember, this is all dual masters, or master duel, whatever you want to say, with Yu-Gi-Oh! So, you know, they'll have answers for it. So this is like a weak combo, but that's just in case you have a really bad hand. I've never really had a really bad hand, but play testing, I did get this. So, again, we're going to redo another combo. Okay, so let's say for argument features that your idea hand is to open up with Scrap Raptor, Scrap Storm, and Scrap Factory. That's your idea hand. All right, the other two, it really doesn't matter. It could be whatever. So what you're going to do is you're going to activate Scrap Factory first. Remember, we're doing all this without no interruptions, no answers from your opponent. So you're going to summon Scrap Raptor. Make sure you tell your opponent. Actually, it doesn't even make sure, because it doesn't even matter. It's going to happen anyway in Duel Masters, in Master Duel, whatever the hell it is. You're going to activate his effect. On his activating his effect, you're going to chain Scrap Storm. And the effect is that you're going to dump a Scrap Searcher into the graveyard. You're going to draw a card. And unfortunately, you are going to miss the timing on Scrap Factory and Scrap Searcher at this time. But remember, just because you missed it this time doesn't mean that you're not going to get it throughout the rest of the turn. So he's going to hit the grave. You're going to miss, and then his effect is going to activate, and you're going to get a Scrap Chimera. All right. Now you're going to normal. Then you're going to special. Okay. And now you're going to tune or link for the Scrap Wyvern. Now his effect is that he will bring back, it doesn't really matter, he could bring any of them back, pop him. So chain link 1, chain link 1, chain link 2, and chain link 3. The reason is you always want to make sure that he's chain link 1, because he has to destroy a card on the field. And if you have to, destroy Scrap Factory after you use its effect, because all it does is give you a 200 defense and attack boost. That's not really nothing. Anyway, so special effect. Okay, now the effect is of him. Do another Scrap Golem effect. Let's say that remember, you're still in your thing, so you pop it. Now you have a lot to do in this play. Okay. So what we're going to do is, it really doesn't matter at this point. Remember, Scrap Searcher, when he's special summoned, he destroys all monsters that's not scrap. So you have to play around this card. This card has lost me games at the beginning because I didn't understand how to play him. But now that I know how to play him, I remember when I didn't play him at all because he was like useless. I thought he was useless, but he's really not. Anyway, the fact is, you're going to need a wing beast, and you're going to need your 3 monsters in order to sync your Link 3 of 7/8. So we're going to link these 2. Okay, and you're going to put that onto the field. All right. Then we're going to use the effect of Scrap Golem. I know I'm using proxies. I'm sorry. I don't have the cards. Like I said, now I just collect them. I keep them in the booster boxes. And I know my handwriting's bad. They're like, how can you draw so good, but your handwriting's bad? Like, yeah, everybody says I have a doctor's signature. So anyway, Scrap Golem, doesn't really matter. Bring one back. Now you're going to get Union Carrier. Now, Union Carrier is banned. It's not, there's nothing you could really do with it. All right. So we're going to have his effect kick in. We're going to target her. And now we're going to get Miss Valley Thunderbird face up. And we're going to put this card, equip it to her. Okay. Now, you still have Scrap Golem. I mean, if you have Palooza, you can go into a Palooza. You could go into whatever other level 2. In my experience, there's not much that you need anymore after this. But you could, let's say you have Gravity Collapse and you want to tune. Let's say you tune for what is it? Let's say where's my Thunder Mists? Okay, we'll do that. All right, and let's say that this is your, what is it? Where's my, I'm trying to find, okay, let's say that you have the Gravity Collapse on the field, and that's how you want to keep it. At the end of your turn, now remember, you can special summon anything up to the spots of spells and traps. So you have 10 spots, and you have 2. So now you can special summon a level 8 or lower. So now you're going to special summon Miss Valley Apex Evian. And this is the card that does your infinite loop. Okay? So you're still in a pretty good position because now you got Gravity Collapse where you could stop his summoning. You got maybe you got hand traps in your hand or whatever it is. And like I said, let's say that he turns a turn. Then he decides that he's going to use one of his magic cards. Then you activate, throw this back, because it only has to be any Mist Valley card. Doesn't even have to be a monster. But since this is face up and it's returned to your hand, he special summons himself. So guess what? This is once per chain. So you keep grinding. This used to be not once per chain, though. This used to be when an effect is activated. But it was so broken that I guess they changed it to once per chain. So anyway, that's your infinite loop. You just keep bringing it back. All right? So that's good on that. All right. Then, all right. Another combo that I have is, let's say you open up with these cards. Let's just say, for instance, you open up with these cards. All right. You're going to activate Scrap Factory. Okay. Then you're going to normal. Then you're going to special. His effect is that he pops a card. Now, because it's a Scrap Factory is going to activate. You're going to special Scrap Golem. His effect, get one back. Now, I'll get this back into the graveyard. Make sure you put him back into the graveyard because he can special summon himself. And the reason why is because when he's popped, his effect is I get to get a Scrap back to my hand. So Scrap Orthros is going right back to my hand. So we're going to get Scrap Wyvern to the field. His effect, we're going to special. His effect, now that we kept him on the field, I'm going to pop him. And then this effect is going to take off. It's going to be Chain Link 1 and Chain Link 2. Chain Link 2 is going to activate. I'm going to bring this back to my hand. Chain Link 1 activates. Scrap Golem, his effect. We're going to pop that card. We don't need it anymore. Then we're going to special. We're going to get your Macarena, or whatever the hell it is. Then we're going to get the Unchained Abomination, his effect. Get your Scrap Goblin back. Then you're going to tune. You're going to get your Savage Dragon. Then you're going to get Scrap Dragon Orthros. So he has 2 counters on him. And on top of that, he's at 3850. So it's not bad board, right? That's another combo. And of course, you're going to have other cards in your hand. So, and there's a lot of. I also want to make one more mention. One more quick note. Scrap Golem has the ability to special summon to your other opponents to the other side of the field. Now, a lot of people like to sleep on Scrap Searcher, but a lot of cards read that this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card's effects, but they can still be destroyed by your own card effects. So if you read, the only reason I'm saying this is because on this one it says your opponent can't destroy this by card effects, but you can. Trust me, ask me how I know. Oh yeah, I Black Rose my own damn thing by accident. So a lot of times they might have monsters that have, like, they can't be destroyed by card effects by your opponents. If that card reads that, special summon him over to your other side. This becomes theirs in attack. And guess what? He's only at 100. So now you Black Rose his whole, whatever face-up monsters that are not scraps, and then you can, hit into him. Also, the other thing is, I won a lot of games like this too. Like, I was playing against Chanel's, and I was down in a life points pretty much. So I special summoned Scrap Golem, Goblin, onto their side of the field. And if he's in defense and he's attacked, then he gets destroyed at the end of the battle phase. Guess what? You're going to special summon him and attack. And guess what? Now you don't even have to hit the Shadels. Now you don't have to hit into it. You just keep on hitting into him. And they're going to keep getting the points to their lives. I've won through Shadels because of that. And they're like, yo, what? And they scooped. So that's just a couple plays. That's why scraps are so versatile. I really like them. And, again, it's not one of the greatest decks in the world, but it suffices. One more thing that I do want to get into. This was the other thing I wanted to show you real quick. Let's restart the field. Okay, instant fusion. So let's say you open up bad. We're just going to say you open up bad. Let's say you open up with a crappy card. We'll just say you open up with Scrap Searcher. Instant fusion. We're going to special summon your whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to have him. I just do that because it likes to steal monsters if I'm going second. But a lot of times you're going to go first. So let's say you open up bad. You got instant fusion. You only got one thing. You could still make plays. All right. Because scrap wavering is that you can use any monster, but the other one has to be a scrap. So you use 2 monsters, and then you could continue to do your loop. So that's why instant fusion is really good in this deck. But anyway, let me know what you think, and thank you again, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.